All right. We're ready to go. Let's go with hip number 36. You're watching hip number 36. We're just beginning the third round. Colton Clausen and Oaks, a lucky crime. They call him Lloyd. 4-year-old gelding owned by Taylor Cherry, Crooked Creek, Alberta. Well, it's going to be clean in the field with a 796 on a stronger one. Judge number 1 says we're 72 from judge number 1. 73 from judge number 2, and a 73 on your time score for a total of 218. 218 for Oaks Lucky Crime and Colton Clausen. Draw number 37, we're looking at Dawson Graham, Wainwright, Alberta, a board shooter. Papered name Peps, a smart gunner. This is your multi-event horse right here, friends. Going to be a 5-year-old gelding owned by Dawson Graham and Cora Borman. And it's going to be a 628 in a barrier. 73.5 from judge number 1. 72 from judge number 2. And your timed score of 64 on the time score with a 209.5. 209.5. Let's go to hip number 38. Hip number 38, we're looking at tail foiling. He's riding one of Doug Jones, the owner being Doug Jones from Lucky Lake, Saskatchewan. Tail foiling on She's Almost Right. Here comes Izzy. 5-year-old mare. This horse has been shown in the working cow horse portion of the industry, friends. Here is 740 in the field, 740 and a 74 from judge number 1, a 74 and a 74 as well from judge number 2, 73 on your timed score for a total of 221, good run. All right. Let's go to hip number 39. Hip number 39, Mr. Von Worken and Kyle Wilson aboard Sonitas Little Drifter. Okie is a 5-year-old gelding we've been talking about here earlier. Here's a highbrow cat and a Sonitas Colonel Pap bred horse. All right, there'll be a 789 in the field. It's going to be a 75 from judge number 1, a 75 as well from judge number 2, a 73 on your timed score for a total of 223 for Sonitas Little Drifter, Okie and Von Worken, hip number 39. Let's go to hip number 40, draw number 40, Clay McNichol. He's back on Hanging with the Cutie. Hanging with the Cutie. Here's your reiner. Here's your team roper. This is your 6-year-old mare. Let's go to hip number 40. Draw number 40, Clay McNichol. He's back on Hanging with the Cutie. Hanging with the Cutie. Here's your reiner. Here's your team roper. This is your 6-year-old mare. Hang 10 Surprise by Hang 10 Peppy by Peppy Badger Chex. Shining Spark on the bottom side. You can see where the Shining Spark comes from. You bet. Going to be a 592 plus a barrier, 592 plus a barrier. Judge number 1 is giving us a 75, All right, judge number 2, 73.5, a 73.5, and a 65 on your time score with a 213.5, a 213.5 for Clay McNichol and hip number 40, Hanging with the Cutie. Let's go to hip number 43. Hip number 43, it's going to be Hillbilly Hollows back with Diamonds and Dineros, Little Joe. Cody Potts doing the show in here. Here's your 5-year-old mare. This horse was purchased from Grant and Rail a little 2 years ago. They're pretty high on this one. One of our few mares we have here today. She's got a bright future in front of her. She's only been roping about 6 months or so. And, of course, going back to Sunfrost on the top side. You bet. Dylan Graham coming in, cleaning it up. It's going to be a 688. And a 75 from judge number 1. 73.5 from judge number 2. And your timed score of 74. 222.5, 222.5 for hip number 43. Let's go to hip number 44. Hip number 44, Brett Buss. Going to be back on Reed's a Charm. Hey, here comes Trigger, owned by Kelly Armstrong. Trigger was a top 6 finisher in the Leonard Schmidt Memorial Futurity. As a 5-year-old, has been roped on and ranched on. Been a real nice horse to be around, they say. Well, it's just shy of a pantyhose there. It's going to be a 6:35, a 6:35 in the field. Judge number 1 is a 74.5, 74.5, 73.5 for judge number 2, and a 74 for your time score for a total of 222 for hip number 44 and Brett Buss. Cash Bonnet and Boy Wrangler Lark. Here comes Joe. Von Lena Starlight by Von Starlight by Von Reminick. You're watching a 6-year-old gelding. Owned and shown by Cash Bonnet. Logan Spady comes in, cleans it up. Going to be a 609, 6-09. And a 74 from judge number 1, a 74. 74 from judge number 2. Your timed score of 64 with that barrier. It's going to be a total of 212. 212 for Cash Bonnet and Boy Wrangler Lark. Hip number 46. Hip number 47, Kyle Wilson's back on JT Risin Sensation. Owned by Von Morkin, Cornack, Saskatchewan. Here's a 4-year-old. A 4-year-old by JT, Taliman Doc, and Taliman by Major League Salinas. Well, it's going to be a leg there for our 4-year-old incentive head horse. It's going to be a 9.20 plus 5, a 75.5, a 75.5 from judge number 1, 74.5 from judge number 2, 66 on the timed score with a 216, a 216 for JT Risin Sensation. Hip number 48, the Fawcett's are back. Here's Kenton Fawcett on Lena drift bars. They call him Cheddar. 6-year-old gelding purchased from the Mestons in Tees, Alberta. Well, there's a good run. It's going to be a 7-20, 7-20 in the field. Judge number 1 is going to be a 74, 74 as well from judge number 2, and a 73 on your timed score for a total of 221 for Kenton Fawcett and Lena Drift Bars Cheddar. Let's go to hip number 49. Hip number 49, Tel Fuelling. He's going to be Gunner's Dunnit Fancy. Gunner's Dunnit Fancy, going to be a 5-year-old gelding. Gunner's Dunnit Fancy by Gunner's Special Night by Colonel's Smokin' Gun. Well, that'll certainly work. Here's a 6-28, 6-28. Judge number 1 is going to be a 74.5, 74.5. Judge number 2 is going to be a 74, a 74. Our timed score of 64 because of the barrier, and that is a running total of 212.5, 212.5 for Tel Fuelling and Gunner's Dunnit Fancy. Let's go to hip number 50. Hip number 50. Here's Kyle Faco aboard a Juan A Rum, owned by Ed Wedman, one of our sponsors here today. Crossbell Performance Horses. All right, well, it's going to be a 795, a 795 with a 72 from judge number 1. 72. Judge number 2 is going to be 71.5, 71.5, and a 73 on your timed score with a 216.5, 216.5 for Kyle Faco and the Wedmans Crossbell Performance Horses. Let's go to hip number 51. Hip number 51, Levi Schmidt's back with us. Tynes Manley, Lucielle Freebie. Well, they're going to put a leg out of it. It's going to be a 960, a 960 for Levi. Going to be a 74.5, a 74.5, judge number 1, a 74.5 on judge number 2, and a 66 on that time score for a grand total of 215 for Levi Schmidt and for Freebie. Dawson Graham doing the hitting on Juan A Chex. They call him Ole. You saw Dylan healing on him here earlier. It is that 6-year-old gelding. Been roped on at jackpots and pro rodeos. This horse has seen a few miles. Dawson Graham on Juan A Chex. Mr. Amarillo Chex by Well, there it is. It's going to be an 8:49 with a 73 from judge number 1, 74 from judge number 2, 72 on your time score for a running total of 219. 219 for Dawson Graham and hip number 54, Juan A Chex. Here be hip number 55. Hip number 55, Brett Buss walking in on Unleash the Bar. Unleash the Bar, owned by Andrea Fox of Thorsby, Alberta. They call him Hennessy. Registered paint horse. We got an APHA registered horse here today. Born and bred by Andrea Fox in Thorsby. And it's going to be an 8-1-5, an 8-1-5 in the field with a 73.5 from judge number 1, 73.5, 72.5 from judge number 2, and a 72 on your timed score for a total of 218. 218 for Brett Buss and Unleash the Bar. Let's go to hip number 56. Hip number 56, Logan Bonnet, invited in blue. Here comes Earl, your Western Pleasure horse that became a head horse and a Pee Wee barrel horse, owned by Mark and Margie Axton, Lavoie, Alberta. 6.74, 6 and 7, 4 in the field. Judge number 1 is going to give us a 74, a 74. Judge number 2, 72.5, a 72.5, and a 74 in your timed score for a total 220.5, 220.5 for Logan Bonnet and invited in the blue. Hip number 54 is going to be riding in. That's Cash Bonnet aboard Eyem Steady. Eyem Steady, that 6-year-old gelding. Cash Bonnet. Eyem Steady, but I am still smoking, but I'll smoke ya. Cash doing lots of helping on either end here today with lots of these Futurity horses. No stranger to the winner's circle here at the Futurities. Cash Bonnet, going to be a 6.58, 6 and 58. Judge number 1's giving us a 74.5, a 74.5. Judge number 2, 73.5, and your time score of 74, a 222, a 222 for Cash Bonnet and Eyem Steady, hip number 58. 62, Hillbilly Hollows, Cody Potts, Vito Corleone, Levi. Here comes Levi. Here's a direct son of PC Double Frost. Of course, PC Double Frost being a Sunfrost. Really get her finished up in a 6 and 6-2, a 6.62. Judge number 1's giving us a 74.5, 74.5. 73.5 for judge number 2 and a 74 on your timed score for a total of 222. 222 for Hillbilly Hollows and Vito Corleone, Levi. TJ Milne, we're looking at TJ Milne, hip number 63. Hip number 63, Honeybee Smokin. Honeybee Smokin, been purchased out of the Northlands Bloodstock sale from Betts Quarter Horses. Here's another Betts Quarter Horse bred mare. Well, they're going to be a 614, a 614 for y'all. Judge number 1's going to be a 73, 73, 73.5 from judge number 2. Your timed score, 64 for a total of 210.5, 210.5 for TJ Milne and Honeybee Smokin. Let's go to 64. 64. We're looking at Centennial Grant's horse ridden by Ryan McNaughton here today. Wrangler Steppin Out, they call him Newt. Originated from Skyview Ranch, that's Maureen Arnold in Vanderhoof, British Columbia. Trained by Ryan McNaughton, McNaughton Performance Horses. Has a reigning foundation, been ranch road. You bet. 6-year-old gelding, going to be a 9-6-1, 9 and 6-1. Going to be a 69, 69, judge number 1. Judge number 2, 71.5, a 71.5, and your timed score, 61 for a grand total 201.5, 201.5 for Ryan McNaughton and Newt. Hip number 64. 66, we're watching Brett Buss right in on, oh yeah, she's hired. Barn name is Dinosaur. 5-year-old mare trained by Braden Duckett, shown by Brett Buss here today. Originally trained as a cutter, here's the one we've been saying. Hired gun by Playgun. Closely bred Playgun mare. 644, a 644 in the field with a 74 from judge number 1, a 74, and a 74 as well from judge number 2, and a 74 across the board for your timed score. Going to be a 222, a 222 for Brett Buss, Braden Duckett, and oh yeah, she's hired. Hip number 67, we're looking at Connie Cassidy is bringing us Sultan Valentino. Sultan Valentino, we saw him in the heeling earlier. Logan Spady was riding him. We got Valley Robles on him. Going to do some heading here this time. We're looking at a 6-year-old gelding from Connie Cassidy, Donalda, Alberta. $644, $644. And that's going to be a 72.5, a 72.5 from our judge number 1, and a 72 from judge number 2, and a 74 on your timed score for a total of 218.5, 218.5 for Sultan Valentino. Draw number 69, we're going to continue back on. We're back in action. We're looking at Buck Nickid. Dawson Graham on Buck Nickid, owned by Chelsea Dreger and Greg Crothers. There it'd be a 730, 730. Judge number 1 is coming in with a 73, a 73. And a 73.5 from judge number 2. 63 amended time score. 209.5, 209.5 for Buck Nickid and Dawson Graham. Well, let's go to hip number 70. We're going Kyle Wilson aboard. Step in small town. They call him Apollo. Here's a 4-year-old incentive gelding. Owned by Vaughn Workin. Wimpy's Royal King by Wimpy's Little Step by New Checks to Cash. Well, there'd be a 7.54, a 7.5, and a 4. It's going to be a 75, a 75 from judge number 1. Judge number 2 is going to be a 75 as well with a 73 on your time score. 223, 223. Good run for Step in Small Town. Hip number 70. Let's go to hip number 71. Hip number 71. Here's Tell Fuelling aboard Blazing Sunfrost. Gina Fuelling, the owner. She bought this horse as a yearling. Been hauled all year to barrel jackpots, Futurities, World Series ropings, team ropings. One of the most athletic horses she's ever rode, she says. And I believe it. Looking good today. Hey, look at here. It's going to be a 708. It's going to be a 74.5, a 74.5, judge number 1, a 74 from judge number 2, and a 73 on your timed score. 221.5, 221.5 for the Frenchman's Guy, bred horse of Gina Fuelling. Here is hip number 72. Hip number 72, Grady Brandon is aboard Masters Twisted Remedy. He calls him Junior. This is Grady's A-team, his number 1 mount right here at rodeos. He won Strathmore on him, placing at a few others in the CPRA this summer. Only a 6-year-old. It's going to be a 625, a 625 plus 5, a 625 plus 5, 73, 73 from judge number 1, 73.5. Oh, we're saying clean, all right. And a 74 on your time score for a total of 220.5, 220.5. Let's move along to number 73. Hip number 73, Caleb's back. Caleb Fawcett, Walk-Away Thief, one of our up-and-coming young hands. Here's a Dash to Fame bred horse. Walk-Away Thief is his name, by Debt Eliminator by Dash to Fame. Yes, sir. It's going to be an 8.57, 8.57. Judge number 1 is going to be a 74.5, a 74.5. Judge number 2, 72.5. Your time to score, 72 for a grand total of 219. 219 for Killaposset and Walk Away Thief. All right. Here be hip number 74. Here's Cale Peterson, Buck Lake, Alberta, BSR Eagle. Ranched, raised, bred and owned. BSR Eagle by Bit of Blue Hickory by Doc Sands Hickory. Here's a 4-year-old. Part of the 4-year-old incentive as well. Here's a 637 plus a barrier, 637 plus that barrier. It's going to be a 75 from judge number 1. 75 from judge number 2. 64 on the time score because of that barrier for a total of 214. 214 for Cale Peterson and a BSR Eagle. Let's go to hip number 75. Hip number 75, Bald Badger Red. They call him Rooster. Clint Maddox aboard the Stephen Tammy Maddox 4-year-old. Here's another 4-year-old incentive colt. I don't want to call them colts anymore. And I'm putting one together there. It's going to be an 8-21. 8-21. 72.5. A 72.5 for judge number 1. A 72.5 for judge number 2. And a 72 on the timed score for a total of 217. 217, knocking them down, the Maddox Ranch is. Here be draw number 68. Draw number 68, we're looking at Clint Buhler, Nanton, Alberta. Shining Boons, calls him Walter. Here's a 5-year-old gelding purchased from Corey Jacobson. Shining Boons. Moonlight Shining by Moonlight Dancer by Pepto Boonsmall. There's a 5-year-old blue horse of Clint Buhler. He calls him Walter. Yeah, Spencer. Going to be an 8.49 and 8.49. 75.5, a 75.5 from judge number 1. 75 even from judge number 2. 72 on your timed score. 222.5, 222.5 for Clint Buhler and Shining Boons.